Okay, please work. So we're now on my phone instead of my computer because I don't have enough internet. So hopefully with data usage, I'll be able to keep the stream going. So if you can hear me, if you can see me, go ahead and hop into the comment section. Let me know where you're watching from. I'll give people a few seconds to roll in, but basically today I'm going to be answering your Q&A questions from last time. So last week, yay! Okay, Jocelyn, good. So we'll see if it works. I have really rough internet here. I'm actually at the beach with my family and I didn't realize the internet was gonna be so bad. Linda's from Atlanta. Hi guys, welcome. So last time I was live, I took a bunch of your questions and I'm gonna be going through some of those now. And we have Paulina from Namibia. I'm probably butchering that. I apologize, but welcome guys. I'm really excited that you're here. But we're gonna be talking about how I got into weddings and that kind of thing. So as we go through, feel free to leave your questions. And I'm really excited that you guys are here. So awesome. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so I want to dive into the first question, and as I go through these, if you guys have more questions, I want this to be collaborative. I want you guys to feel like you can hop in and ask questions and about photography and business and creativity and that kind of thing. So Susanna asked on the last video, she asked what kind of camera holster I use for wedding days and how I manage all the weight, because that's definitely a thing where your back is definitely going to have to be put through the ringer during a wedding day. So I use two different straps. The first strap that I use is the hold fast strap, and the second strap I use is by it's the Moneymaker strap. So both of them are holsters for two. And let me just get the comments back. I want to be able to see. Oh gosh, I think I might have missed your comment. Please write it again. So each of them can hold two camera bodies. That's really cool. Oh my gosh, congratulations, Paulina. She just came from shooting a wedding. That is a big deal. Where was it? How long was it? That's very exciting. That's a lot of work. Yeah, that's exciting. Good job, guys. Okay, so that answers the what's in your camera bag question about the holsters. So I also got a question about affordable lenses. And for that one, I thought, I can only speak to Nikon because I'm a Nikon shooter, but I have two lenses that I think would be great, affordable lenses that are great for portraiture, for shooters in the Nikon family. The first is the 50mm 1.4. The 1.8 is also great. Both are very affordable. Awesome. Congratulations. That is amazing. How did it go? Greetings from Brazil. Thank you so much. Thank you. This is exciting. So it's telling me, it's showing here that it's giving me a funny reading of how many people are here because there's more people commenting than it's saying that is actually watching. So I'm excited that this is working out for you guys. Yeah, I can't get it to come up on my computer. Oh well, thank you guys for being here. The second lens, back to what I was talking about, the second lens that I can highly recommend is the 85mm 1.8. It's much faster, it's a little snappier, it's great for photographing kids and moving subjects. And those are gonna be just great starting lenses as well. Oh, it's giving me very bad connection. So guys, if it does cut out, I do apologize. It does say that the connection is very poor, but I want to let you guys know that I'm going to be back. I'm going to be back on good internet and home with my full setup next week. So be sure to subscribe, be sure to hit the little bell so that you can be notified for future live streams. Come on, is it even working? Stay with me. Work with me, YouTube. Come on. Oh gosh. Okay, Paulina says she started at 6 a.m. and ended now. Tired, but it was all worth it. Yes, that's so true. Yesina said, just booked a wedding for this fall. We'll be glued to your videos to learn as much as possible. Awesome. Well, seriously, give me all your suggestions. I am excited to learn what you guys would like to learn. So I want to tailor this channel and make it a community where your input is super valued, and I definitely want it. So Let me know. Instagram, please. So my Instagram handle is at Joy Michelle with 2 Y's. So Joyy Michelle. Yeah, so I'd love it if you guys followed me and subscribed. I'm getting a signal here that's saying it's super bad connection, so I'm not sure if it's still working out for you guys. Oh, I can go back in comments. This is so cool. Oh, Paulina said she did some ring shots today. Thanks to your videos, my shots were on point. That's awesome. That's so good to hear. I'm excited. Did you use a macro lens or macro filters, or what did you use? That's really exciting. Okay, so let's see. I have a question here. Somebody asked, how do I keep busy during the off season? That is a great question. I do styled shoots. I do networking events. Okay, awesome. Yeah, Allison, thank you for letting me know that the connection is better. On my end, it's saying that, okay, I just got one from Happy Distractions Girl. I'm not sure my comments are working. So I don't think they were working earlier because I was getting a huge sign from YouTube saying your connection's terrible and it won't work. So I think I missed some of your comments. What is the difference between your macro lens and your macro filters? Okay, so macro lens has all of the built-in macro capabilities in the lens, so it's probably higher quality graphics, or optics, I should say, and it's gonna be, they're of course more expensive. So the filters can be stacked and have a lot of varying abilities. So I like to use filters even when I'm shooting people up close. So I use the filters more so to get a film look than to get macros of rings. So they kind of do much of the same, but the look that they produce is different. So I like to have both of them. And of course, the filters are so much lighter that you can just throw them in your back pocket or wherever you're going to be going, and it's much lighter. So that's why I use them. Let me see. Awesome. I wanted to get back and read Paulina's comment. She said maybe more videos on posing groupings, brides and grooms. Love that. Okay. And Paulina used the filters. That's so cool. Okay. So did you use the filters because you saw my video, or did you just already have them? I'm curious. I will definitely, I'm going to write that down. I'm going to take your suggestions and write down that you guys want to see more posing on groupings, bridal party, and that kind of thing. So I actually have something in the works where I want to take you guys behind the scenes and show you walking through a real wedding day. So starting with the details, taking you guys through the getting ready portion, all of that posing, and then hopefully even like sunset portraits and stuff like that with the bride and groom. And then you would also be able to see how I set up my off-camera flash and more lighting and stuff like that. So I'm definitely going to make note of that. Perfect. Well, thanks guys, that's super helpful. Have any of you guys gone live? I'm so curious if any of you guys do Facebook Live, Instagram Live, YouTube Live. If you have, tell me. If you haven't, tell me why you haven't, because I'm just curious, because this is super new for me. This is just my second one. Okay, Allison said, Joy, your videos are so helpful. Made such a difference in the efficiency and organization. Yes, I love all of those tools, Allison. Like, they have seriously changed my life, and they've taken me years to like figure out and find everything. So yeah, you're welcome. I'm excited that that helped you. Okay, we have a question. Can you explain to me the speedlight flash range in feet? How does it work? Is it always accurate? Do you use it? The speedlight flash range. So are you referring to like the triggers? Like how far away can I be from the triggers, like while they're still talking and still communicating? If you're talking about that, oh my gosh, I don't actually know the range. I think each trigger that you buy, each like whatever built-in trigger, you can find all that information. It's almost like a walkie-talkie, like they'll tell you what the range is. I've never been out of range of my own flashes. Normally I'm in, a ballroom. The furthest I'm going to be is maybe like 50 feet from my flash. So yeah, and it's most always accurate. The only time it won't flash or fire is maybe if it's not fully in my hot shoe or if the batteries need changing. Okay, so some of you have done Facebook Live. Very cool. Facebook Live. You guys are brave. Very, very cool. Yeah, okay. So someone said usually 100 meters. So I think that that's true. I think it just depends on the brand. So I use Pocket Wizards, and I've never had a problem with the range of them, but I'm not using them like super far at a crazy capacity. And yeah, 100 meters. So yeah, I would never do more than that. So I'm okay with that. Awesome. Okay, so Robson said, how many people work with you at a wedding? Typically, I work with a second photographer, and occasionally I also have an assistant. Are you ever nervous before consultations or shootings? Of course. Yeah, especially in the beginning. So in the very beginning, especially I would have nerves during my meetings. So like before I would meet with a bride and groom and their family would be there, and I'd have my sample albums, and I'd be super nervous because it's honestly like a job interview, and every single day is like a job interview for me. So when I'm meeting with my clients, but it goes away. I mean, you get a little jittery, and that's good because you want the booking and you want to work with great clients. But I've gotten less nervous over the years. Sorry, let me go back. I'm missing comments. You guys are so awesome. But yeah, I definitely get nervous, but I think it's good. Like, it just means you're excited and you really care about it, and you care about the photos you're going to be creating, and you're really into it. So I think you should do things even though they scare you. Okay. Can you explain to me the speedlight flash range in feet? How does it work? Is it always accurate? I feel like I explained that, but I guess I didn't do a very good job. Yeah, I think I have a flash video. So go watch my 2 flash videos. Okay, do you have a video on questions you asked during consultations? Yeah, in my 10 tips for bride meetings, I had, I think, a few of the things that I ask my couples. I also have a free PDF download for you guys to take to your client meeting. So if you go look at that video and it's 10 tips to better consultations, there's a free download, and it just has different blanks of things that I like to know from my clients when I'm talking to a bride or a groom. Things I like to know, like, are you going to have a first look? How many guests are you expecting? What's your theme and colors? And how do you like to be photographed? Because I want to make sure that they're a good fit for me, and I'm also a good fit for them. So I'm interviewing them as well, because I want to make sure that I really am the best photographer for them. So I hope that answers your question. Amar says, I don't understand you, but I see all your videos. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're watching, Amar. You're welcome to be here. Okay. Thanks God, I thought there was something wrong with me for always getting nervous before meeting new people. Of course not. No, not at all. Especially if it's something that you really care about and you want to put your best foot forward. But I think that there are lots of things that you can do to prepare yourself. There are lots of things that can help you appear more professional and your brand to come across stronger. So I think, always dress your best, always bring samples of your work, be there early, and just be really polite, because that just always makes me feel better. But yeah, I'm super nervous before that. Or on a way to a wedding, I'll be reviewing the information. I'll get very excited and nervous. And then once I'm there, I'm calm. I'm like, okay, we're here. We got this. Okay, Linda asked if I had a video on how to style bridal details. Not specifically. So I have a video all about how I photograph details in general. So like what styling boards I use, what styling aids I use, how I find good light, that kind of thing. So I definitely have a video about that. I don't have one where it goes into here's where I put the ribbon and that kind of thing, but I would really like to do that. That is on my list of videos. They'll probably be seeing that in May. So I'm definitely going to do a styling video just with styling tips in general, because I love styling details. Details are my favorite part of the day. It's how I start each wedding day. All right, Paulina asks, do you have a wedding photography plan for each wedding? I kind of go into each wedding day with the same shot list of basics, so things that I have to must cover, and then I have things that are inspiring me, so the couple's details. Some people don't have favors, or don't have an ice sculpture, or don't have like a horse farm, so everyone is going to be different, but then each of those details inspire me with new shots and new things like that. So there are some standard things that I do, and then there are things that I know from talking to my bride and groom what's important to them. I know that they want some shots after dark outside, and some of my couples don't care about that. So I do sort of have a plan, yes. Okay, so Sherith said, is it Sherith? Am I saying that right? I'm so excited I caught this. Greetings from Texas. Hello, thank you for being here, welcome. Okay, Allison said, can you talk about how you got started shooting weddings? Absolutely. So, sorry, this is like, the light is going away. I did not start photography as a business at all to make money or any of those kind of things. I just loved it. I bought my first camera, gosh, I think I was like 15 or 16. I know I couldn't drive yet. And I spent all my money on a DSLR, and it was the Nikon D80. I still remember it was my baby. And it was a phenomenal camera, and I just loved it. I loved photography. I loved walking around and playing around with all the manual settings and just getting really into it. So that's how I got started with it. I actually went to art school in Georgia, so I went to Savannah College of Art and Design, and I later graduated from University of Maryland. But oh my gosh, someone said that was their first camera. It's an amazing camera. Like, it's definitely semi-pro, like it was on the way to pro. It wasn't full frame, but it was a great camera. So I was always into photography, but I didn't even really know about the whole in photography, especially weddings. I kind of assumed that if you were gonna make money in photography, you needed to work for like National Geographic or do fashion catalogs and stuff like that. So I didn't understand that there was this whole world of weddings. And I got my degree in graphic design, which I use all the time, so it definitely wasn't a waste. But right around, so my senior year, I got married, and when I got engaged, I started looking for photographers. And I think that's really when I was introduced to this whole world of weddings, that you could shoot weddings for a living. And so I became really good friends with my wedding photographer. Oh gosh, it's telling me there's really bad connection. Let me give it 1 second. I'm just gonna let it buffer for 1 second, I'm sorry. Everyone's just gonna leave my chat because I'm not making enough progress. Okay, so once I met my wedding photographer, I hired her. I just fell in love with the whole world of wedding photography. And long story short, I ended up working for her. I was her second shooter. We kind of came full circle, and I thought, you know, I really want to do this. I want to photograph weddings for a living, and so that's how I got into it. So really my own wedding. I loved photography. I already knew how to shoot in manual, and I was already a passionate artist, but the weddings thing came a little later. So after I had my degree and was introduced to that whole world. So Allison, I hope that answers your question and that you guys were able to hear me. I know we're having connection issues. Okay, let me read some more of these questions, guys. Keep them coming, I love this. Okay, let's see. Billy, do you have any advice for photographing the ceremony when flash is not allowed and the lighting is not ideal? A lens to use, camera settings? Thanks. Billy, that's a great question. That happens to me a lot in churches. What I do is I try to get the highest ISO that I'm comfortable using and the slowest shutter speed that I can hand hold, and I get my aperture as wide open as possible. So I like to use my 85mm 1.4, and I'll probably use it at maybe 1.8 or 2.0. And if I can help it, I'm gonna have my ISO as high as it'll go, so 2000 or higher. But if you have a good camera body, you can go pretty high in your ISO, and you can also remove your noise in Lightroom. So I have a Lightroom tutorial, if you haven't checked that out, where it was really dark, and I show how I get kind of a light and airy edit from a dark photograph. So if you want to look at that after this stream, I would highly recommend it, and I show how I would go and remove the noise. You can remove it in Lightroom pretty easily, yeah. But I will tell you, that's really hard. Like sometimes it's so dark, like so dark that your camera can almost not focus. So my heart goes out to you. I know that it's difficult, and at that point, you know, you can just do your best. I'm gonna go black and white all the way because it's always romantic and beautiful. So just do your best. Okay, so Cherith said, I would love to start shooting weddings, but I'm not sure how to start. Portfolio. Styled shoots, 100%. You got to do some styled shoots. You got to collaborate with other vendors. That's the best way to meet people and get the experience and grow your portfolio. You can also get published. So I have a video all about finding your first clients in your first year of business. It's I think a couple months ago I posted it, and it has, I think in this stream, I tried to embed this, so I think in the information section there's a link, but I think you should check out the 6 ways to find your very first wedding photography clients. So finding clients when you've never had clients. So you can't use referrals, and you can't use your past experience. So I was there. I totally know what you're going through. So grab that, download that. I think it'll be immensely helpful for you. Okay, let's see. What's the highest ISO you are comfortable with shooting in low light? That's hard. See, exposure is a triangle. So it is possible to use an ISO that's not even that high and still get a lot of grain because you're underexposing. So it helps if you're able to get a proper exposure, if that makes sense. So every camera body is going to have a different ISO that you're comfortable with the amount of noise. So I don't mind a moderate amount of noise and grain in my photographs. I think it's beautiful. I think it resembles film, and I can always remove it. So I'm not super worried about grain. I don't know. I mean, I have an editing tutorial and you can see that, and I don't even remember what the ISO was, honestly, but I go pretty high. I'm in like multi-thousands because if it's producing the look that I want, I'm okay with that. And I have the D610 camera body, which is pretty good with ISO. And my second photographer uses the Nikon D750, which apparently is phenomenal in low light, like phenomenal, and can just go insanely high in ISO and will capture colors really well, even in low light. Because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but sometimes when it's really dark, you can get the picture, but like skin tones are wonky and just like things are not cute. So check out the Nikon D50 if you shoot a lot in low light. Okay. Do you have some types of pauses during the wedding day that you can sit down and have a rest? Love yourself? That is a great question. A little bit. Not predictably. So sometimes just the way that the day goes, there are some times that I can sit down. Normally, the only time that's going to happen is during dinner. So usually my team and I are fed towards the end of when guests are finishing their eating. So we're brought to like a back room or into the kitchen, and they give us some food, and I put down my cameras and I scarf down food. So normally it's like 5 or 10 minutes if we're lucky. Sometimes we don't even get that, just because of the way that a wedding day plays out. By the time we're eating, speeches are starting, or cake cutting is happening, or special dances, or toasts, or that kind of thing. So it can be hard. I feel like I'm lucky if I have a chance to drink a bunch of water and go to the bathroom, which is why I bring snacks. So my last video was talking about all the stuff that I bring, and just like I'm chugging water like when we're in the car, or like when we're in transition. That's when I'm relaxing, and I just like soak it up, because it is like a crazy 8-hour marathon. I will be honest with you. Okay, Jocelyn asks, do you always bring a second shooter? Do you ever shoot a full wedding by yourself? That's a good question too. I always work with a second shooter. Even in the beginning of my career, when my clients didn't want to pay for a second shooter because they were just trying to save money, that kind of thing, I always paid out of pocket for a second, because I knew if I had a second, I would have the peace of mind that I would get better work, that I was improving my portfolio and putting a better foot forward. Because my goal, especially in the beginning when I was shooting more budget weddings and just they didn't have a budget to splurge on a photographer, I wanted to make that wedding look like it was a $60,000, $100,000 wedding. I wanted it to seem high end. So I was trying so hard to make it look amazing. So sometimes that meant I was paying for a second shooter that my client didn't pay for, but I knew was going to further my career and further my portfolio. So I always work with a second photographer. I think I've shot like 1 or 2 weddings by myself, but it's kind of a lonely day if you're by yourself. And yeah, I hope that answers your question. Okay, yeah, so she says, I was paying out of pocket for a while. Yeah, they don't want to pay for it. I felt bad about it, but I'm not. Yeah, no, you're not the only one. And I think it's smart. I think if it furthers your portfolio, like having a second person there to hold a reflector, to do a veil drop, to help me set up flashes and lights and keep me sane, I swear to you, my work is better because of it. And when your work is better, that client is going to be blown out of the water. They're going to say, oh my gosh, I didn't think I was going to get these amazing pictures, because they didn't pay you very much. But then they go to the next person, they say, you have to hire her, you have to hire him. So like it gets your name out there, and it's so worth it. So it's an investment, it really is. But if this is what you want to do, I really think like always work with a second photographer. Plus it's kind of insurance, something could go wrong. So it's really, really helpful to have someone else there who has a camera body and they're covering you. So it's great. Okay, do you have tips for where and how to find second shooter or an assistant? Okay, so how to find an assistant, like if I were hiring one, there are a couple websites. There's actually one called, I think, like secondshooters.com, and people like me can post and say, hey, I need second shooters or I need an assistant, hit me up. And people like the seconds can post, hey, this is what I do, this is my work, this is my availability, and they put their region, and then photographers can hire them. So Second Shooters is a website, but also a lot of Facebook communities. So I find second shooters on my local communities through, what do? I have Shoot and Share. Shoot and Share is a big community. So I have a local chapter of my Shoot and Share, and Rising Tide Society is a big one, and that's international. And what else? I did pursuit groups. All right. Let's see what else we have. One Lens says, what is your timeline after a full wedding day? So like for delivery, like for the pictures, or like my post-production, I'd love to answer that. I'm just not exactly sure what you're asking. Can you tell me how much the second photographer gets? Does he get less than you do? Yeah, so how that works is my client pays me for the package. So my client is not responsible for finding the second photographer. That's somebody that I'm hiring on as a contractor, an independent contractor. So then I pay my second per hour. So I'm being paid for the whole collection because I have to edit, I have to do post-production, I have to have liability insurance, and just the whole timeline planning, everything. So I take on kind of the brunt of the work, and the second photographer shows up for the day. So that is kind of how we get paid and how that works out. Let's see. I first came across your channel from your brother Josh. Nice. Hi, Julie. Your family is so fun. Anyways, I just admired how much. Oh, you're so sweet. I don't feel that way at all. My tips for confidence on camera is to just do it, because you're not going to be good at anything until you do it, until you try it. So don't expect to be good at something that you've never done, because I struggle with perfectionism for sure. So my tip is to just keep doing things that scare you, and don't try to be perfect. And it's okay. Like, I mean, I'm on like my phone in a random office on a beach vacation. My family's outside making noise, and I'm like trying to focus on you guys. So don't let other people's perceived confidence throw you off your game. You should keep trying anyway. Okay, so One Lens said delivery. So I deliver a wedding around 2 weeks after. So I'm pretty quick on my turnaround, I think. I don't know how long it takes other people to process weddings, but I try to get it done in 2 weeks. That's just because I have weddings kind of close together, and I don't want it to get to a point where if it takes me a month or it takes me a few months, then I'm sitting on 8 people's weddings. I hate that feeling. I want to get the blog post out. I want to give them the sneak peeks. I want them to still be excited about their wedding day, and for the hype to still be there when they get their pictures, because I just think it's so fun to deliver a wedding when my clients are just getting back from their honeymoon. So, okay, totally got kicked off. Sorry if I missed it. Oh, did you fall off the chat? I hope that it's not being weird for you. I might have missed it, but how did you get into wedding photography? What did you do before? Yeah, so I think the connection was really bad, but I got into wedding photography through my wedding photographer. So when I was getting married and I discovered the whole world of wedding photography, I realized it was a potential career path. So that's very long story short how I got started. I ended up working for my wedding photographer as an intern, and yeah, I mean, it came full circle and I was her second shooter, and now she refers weddings to me. So that's kind of how I got started. Hello, Marshall Lee. Hi, guys. I'm so behind in comments. I'm trying to like go back up and read, but I'm really sorry, guys, if I'm missing everything you're saying. But Jocelyn, I'll make a video about that. I'm going to show a little bit more of my story because I went full-time really quickly, and there was a lot of urgency because my husband is in school, and he has been in school for like our entire marriage, and I've been the breadwinner, so it's been a wild ride. So I will definitely answer that fully in a video in and of itself, because I don't know if I'm going to upload this after we're done talking, just because we've had so many connection issues. But so this is like our secret inside conversation. You guys are like my inside tribe. Okay, have you ever been in a situation where your clients are unsatisfied with your job? Asked by Love Yourself. No, not yet, thankfully. I haven't. I think it's only a matter of time. I think if you're in the industry long enough and you're working with something as subjective as art and photography and someone's wedding day, and it's so emotionally charged that it's only a matter of time. But I really go out of my way to manage expectations, communicate well, and exceed expectations. So I tell my clients, you're not going to see your pictures for 4 to 6 weeks, and then I deliver them in 2. And I tell my clients, you're only going to get this many images, and I deliver way more. So I'm constantly trying to outdo myself so that there's nothing for them to complain about. So that's my goal anyway, but I'm sure that won't be forever. That's definitely something that I think every photographer has dealt with. Okay, let's see. Robson said, I've learned so much from Roberto Venezuela. Oh, I love his book. I agree. Yeah, posing. I have that book actually, Robson. It's so good. And you're right, the posing chapters, guys, if you haven't seen the wedding, is it called like fine art wedding photography? I think it's called Fine Art Wedding Photography. It's by Roberto Venezuela, but isn't it also by Jose Villa? Like they went in on it together. I don't know. Look it up, guys. It's amazing. The posing is incredible. The guidance is really good. It gets into like the nitty-gritty of why a picture works and why something very similar with just small changes doesn't, and it can just take your posing to new levels. It's great. Okay, my question is, hold on, let me get a drink of water. Okay, my question is, during a wedding day, do you have time to pay attention to things like hand positions and things like that? That is a great question. Yes and no. I think that is a learned skill. Like to just shut out everything. You have 1 million family members. You have 10 minutes with your bride and groom. To be able to say like, here, hand in pocket. I want your hand here. Turn her ring. See that there's like something in the background. Eliminate that. To be able to see that and work in high pressure situations is definitely a skill. And I think you learn it and you get better over time. But it also helps if you can influence the timeline and have your clients understand that you need time. So I tell my clients how much time I need with them for portraits so that they're not expecting me to work magic and to get the same curated images that are on my website in 5 minutes. Those are not 5-minute images. These take time. And so thankfully, my clients really value that, and they understand that they need 30 minutes with me, that like it's just going to be us and I'm going to be able to get into all those details. So no, it doesn't always happen. Sometimes there's rain, sometimes there's craziness, changes of plan, but for the most part, yes, I'm able to look at those details, but that's not to say that I'm perfect every time. Sometimes I get home and I'm like, what is this? Why did I let them put their hand there? And you can fix it or you can Photoshop it and that kind of thing, but for the most part, it is so worth it to get that posing right in camera. Okay, Marshall Lee says, what kind of camera do you have? And one lens said Nikon D610 and the D600. Nice, guys. They're on it. All right, how many images do you tell your client they're gonna get? I never put the same amount of images for a wedding because it varies so much. Yeah, that's a good question. I usually tell my clients that they're going to get anywhere from like 60 to 80 curated, edited images per commissioned hour for the duration that I'm there. So this helps them to understand that if I'm there for 10 hours, they're going to get more images than if I'm there for 4 or 6. So it does depend on how long I'm there and how many of us are there. Minimum, I'm going to deliver probably 600 images. Yeah. Jocelyn says, good at managing expectations. I want to get good at managing expectations. That's super important in business. So that's great that you're thinking those things. Okay. I'm trying to pick out some more questions. You guys are awesome. Are you interested in exploring other areas of photography for fun or for business? Yeah, I am. So I'll tell you guys this, which I haven't told anyone yet. Like, seriously, I really want to get into encaustic photography. So look it up, it's amazing. But basically you take photographs for the purpose of doing encaustic. So like pouring wax and creating artwork with your images. So very fine art, not weddings, just like styled shoots and stuff like that. So I am interested in that. I have done some product photography and I love doing anniversaries. What else? I think really just commercial, like styling. I would love to do a shoot, maybe even like a cookbook with like food and stuff like that. Like that to me would be like a dream. But for the most part, I love working with people. I love shooting love stories. Oh man, still having signal issues, guys. If you can still hear me and see me, please let me know. Give me a thumbs up, say yes, I can hear you. Please leave something in the comments because I'm getting signals from YouTube that I have bad signals. So I just want to make sure I shouldn't hang up on you guys. And also, if you guys are not yet subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Go ahead and hit the little bell for notifications. I'm going to be doing these live streams every week. Oh, thank you guys so much. Awesome. I'm glad you're still here. I don't know if it cut out. Let me know if I'm cutting out at all. For me, it's pausing and it's making me pause. It's throwing me off. Okay, we can hear you. Perfect. Great, guys. Yeah, so if you're not subscribed, be sure to subscribe, hit the bell. I'm going to be doing these every week, and I actually think I'm going to be doing them. I have a lot of weddings coming up, and I think I'm going to have my assistant show you guys some behind the scenes, and I have some engagement shoots coming up. So, oh, Julie said I'm so ready to tune into your live streams every week. Yes, live stream tribe. Do you have some photographer who inspired you? Of course, yes. Okay, so I really, really look up to the work of, gosh, there's so many. I used to be, like in the beginning of my career, I was very into Jasmine Star, Caitlin James, the biggies. I watched a lot of Creative Live, and so I learned from them a lot, but now I really love Jana Williams, and lots of film photographers. So I like Nadia Mealy's work. Her work is really, really beautiful too. But I don't know, there's something about Jana Williams' work and also just like her outlook and her positivity, and she's just very inspirational. She's here on YouTube, that I just love. I think she's incredible, and she's constantly reading and learning and bettering herself, and for that reason, I'm kind of obsessed with her. So yeah, Jana Williams, she's great. Plus, I feel like her work is very glowy and romantic and fun, and that's what I want my work to be like. So okay, so I don't see any questions right now. I probably missed a bunch. But yeah, if you guys have questions specifically about weddings and photography, throw them in there now. Oh, yes. Okay, so I'm not the only one who watches Jana. Yeah, she's awesome. She definitely got me into YouTube. Like, I don't know when I discovered her, a few years ago, and she has just blown up. Like, she is so popular. So I'm very impressed and proud of her, and I hope to one day meet her. I know she does workshops, so one day I'll go and I'll meet her. Okay, so I have a question here from Taylor, and it says, how do you advise your clients on their timeline so that you get all the pictures that you need and that you're not rushed? And that's a great question. I do that in a couple of different ways. So I have a secret backend website where I have the timeline, like samples of how long each individual portion of a day will take. So for details or for getting into your wedding dress. So sometimes brides will put getting into my dress 3 minutes, And that's not realistic. You know, getting into your gown and getting those pictures and, you know, lacing you up and all of those things do take much longer than you think. And then gathering all your girls up, leaving the hotel room, everybody's forgotten something, it takes more time. So it helps if I can tell them, hey, let me help you. I do this every weekend. Let me contribute to your timeline. So I'm very much a part of the timeline planning for my couples. So I have a template timeline with and without a first look. So that's one thing that I do. And I also really encourage my couples to use planners or coordinators, because I think that really helps with being a little more realistic and staying on the timeline. So hopefully that answers that question. Let's see. I know I missed them. Hang tight, guys. Hang tight. Okay, Victor said, I noticed most of all the photographers I love are shooting film and I'm feeling tempted, but I'm not sure. Have you ever considered? Yeah, I have. I have a lot of film cameras. I love photography just in general. So I have a lot of film cameras. I have a 35mm camera. I have wide format portfolio, a medium format camera, a mini portfolio, or mini Polaroid. Polaroid is the word I'm trying to find. So yeah, I use film. I shoot film more so for personal projects, but I have considered being a hybrid photographer, but I haven't fully figured out how to implement that into my workflow because I have such a quick turnaround time. I deliver my images to my clients from a wedding day 2 weeks later. And if I were to implement film, that would involve, of course, sending it out to a film developer. Then I would have to match my digital to my film. So it's a whole big thing. So for me, for right now, for how many weddings I'm shooting a year and stuff like that, it doesn't work. So I could maybe do it in the future if I were to cut down and do just a few select weddings and do teaching more, which I would love to do. So my heart is really in teaching. But yeah, I think you should explore it. I think you should shoot different stocks of film. I mean, in college, I did film photography like in the dark room where we would develop our own film. And that was super cool. So just learning how exposure works and how making prints in the dark room works, I think will help you understand Lightroom better and understand digital photography better too. So the more you know about film and photography in general, that will translate to digital, I think, and other areas for sure. Okay, let me scroll back up. Sorry, guys. Okay, do you ever turn down bookings when you feel the bride and groom aren't a good fit? Okay, not typically. No, I mean, I think what happens is that in the meetings, it kind of becomes evident that we're not, and it's more of like a mutual thing. I'm not ever going to tell someone, you know, I don't like your theme, so I'm not going to work with you. That's not at all how it works. I think I just have a certain look and I have my way of photographing weddings. And so when I show them that work and I say, this is what you can expect to see, if they're not happy with that, I say, that's good that you see that now. And I push them, you know, interview other photographers, talk to other people, be certain in your decision. So I think I kind of weed people out that way just by telling them, like, I would love to work with you, but this is the kind of work I produce and I want you to love that. I want you to be happy with that. So we're a good fit. And I think that helps people say, yes, this is a good idea. I want this. I want to work with you. And other people are like, maybe I'll go somewhere else. There's a photographer for everyone. So let's see. Okay. Has there ever been a wedding that has stood out to you because of their cultural traditions? Oh my gosh, so many. I've done some Indian receptions. Those have just been incredible. The music, the dancing, the outfits, the food, all of it, incredible. I got to photograph a Vietnamese tea ceremony. That was beautiful as well. Just serving their elders tea and like what that meant and the symbolism of that was just really, really beautiful and such an honor. So that was really cool too. I've also photographed, I'm trying to think, it was like a Turkish ceremony. I don't exactly remember, but I've gotten to witness some really, really beautiful culture and tradition. And I think that's what is so cool about weddings, that everyone is so different, so you can't get bored. Okay, buying equipment, credit card versus cash. How did you start? start with your gear and setup? Okay, it's a good question. I think people go way too complicated with gear way too fast. I don't think there's any reason for you to go out and spend $10,000 on a whole gear lineup when you can just do incredible things with versatile lenses. So getting a 50 or a 35 millimeter and using that to its fullest capacity and just spending a few $100s is going to take you so far. Your gear does not make you the photographer. You are the photographer. So don't get caught up in all the like fancy schmancy, like I had one camera body and like 2 lenses when I started out. When I did a styled shoot, I'm pretty sure I had a crop sensor camera and a 50 millimeter. It's not going to stop you. You know, if your eye is there, if you can see light and you can compose, and even if it's your friend modeling for you, that's not going to stop you. So I am definitely a little more leaning towards the cash side. I think you should pay for things in cash when you can. I also rented a lot of equipment in the beginning just to make sure that it fit with my style. So I would try a lens, and if it didn't produce what I wanted it to produce, I was like, maybe I shouldn't buy this, because I would see so many of my friends buy gear and then sell it 6 months later. And of course, they're not going to make back what they spent on it. So I'm gonna say cash for sure, rent, borrow, and buy refurbished. So one of my camera bodies was new and one of them was refurbished. So I get everything, I think it's Amazon. Yeah, I used to buy through B&H, but I get everything Amazon because I can return it. I've never had a problem with refurbished gear and used gear. So I think that helps a lot, because you're gonna pay like 60 cents on the dollar for a refurbished piece of equipment, but it's all fine, and I've never had a problem with it. So I say buy as little as possible to produce what you need, and you can make up for it by just being an amazing photographer. Okay, so Billy said, do you plan on doing any photography workshops in the future? Yeah, I'm here at the beach actually right now, and I was thinking about it today just since I'm here, and I want to do kind of like a retreat combination, so like learning, like a workshop / retreat, which I think would be really, really cool. But I also would love to offer, I don't know, I think I just cut out, sorry guys. I also would love to offer an online course for photographers. So something that it's a little more affordable. It's something that people can take all around the world, and we can all join it together. So courses and workshops are definitely something on my mind. So if you guys have things that you would love to learn and topics you'd like me to cover, that's why I love to hear what you guys would love to learn, because it helps me know how I can help you guys and what my courses might consist of someday. So that is definitely something I want to do. Teaching is definitely on my heart. Okay, so Cherith said, how do you ensure your clients meet your brand expectations as well? Oh, she said, you just answered, never mind. Cool, yeah, I'm glad I answered that for you. Okay, let's see, what else do we have? You guys are awesome. This is so fun. I noticed that you don't have a lot of examples of your work on your site. Is there a specific reason for this? Like, wouldn't people want to see pictures before booking? I do have a bunch of galleries on my site. My site is joymichelephotography.com. I have a bunch of different galleries, and I also have a lot of blog posts. So maybe you're not on the right site, because I do have a lot of work. Okay, would you buy next question. Would you buy a macro lens or close-up filters? Is the lens worth the extra money? It depends how much you're going to use it. Sometimes people literally get those lenses out for 2 pictures and for the entire wedding day, and then put it back in their gear bag. So if you're going to use the lens a lot, I would say it's worth it. Otherwise, you probably could get away with the macro filters. I know people who use only macro filters and have amazing ring shots. I have both. I originally invested in the 60mm 2.8 Nikon macro because it was more affordable than the 105, because I didn't want to, that's just an expensive lens, and it's beautiful. It's a gorgeous lens. But it was very expensive for a lens that I wasn't going to be using as like a workhorse lens, like throughout an entire wedding day. So I went with the 60, and I'm happy with what I can produce. Pretty much everything that you see on my Instagram, which is @joymichelle, and my website and everything is all produced with either the 60mm macro or the filters. So I don't even remember your question. Is it worth the extra money? If you use it, yeah. So if you get enough use out of it. Otherwise, you could probably get away with just the filters. Okay, so Cheris says, so styled shoots. Love the video, but would love to hear about getting vendors and others on board. That's a great question. So on next Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, a planner friend of mine and I will be we're going to be doing a whole live stream all about styled shoots, all about how we find vendors, what we say to get them on board, if we pay them, how we get published, how we find models, how we find sample gowns, everything. So we're going to be doing an entire live stream just about this. So hang tight, subscribe, hit the little bell so you don't miss it. We're going to be talking all about styled shoots. So leave me your questions about styled shoots. And I'll be sure to answer them next Saturday. Okay, so next question. I know it's kind of random, but happy Earth Day. Happy Earth Day, everyone. Okay, so do you contribute to the environment in any way in your daily life and photography practice? Yeah, I try to use all rechargeable batteries and just try to like not be throwing things out constantly. So when I can reuse and reduce and recycle, I definitely do. And I don't know, we don't send balloons off into the environment. I have a pretty small footprint, I think. Someone says, which lens do you prefer? My favorite lens is the 85mm 1.4. Coop says, hey, I'm new to your channel. I just subscribed and this channel looks great. I like the video. Thank you so much. I'm excited that you subscribed. Let's see. Robson says, Joy, being a storyteller during a wedding day, do you spend some time taking photos about the person in the table? Because I think it's not too much nice. I'm not sure I understand. I'm not sure I understand your question. Oh gosh, my little brother's on here. So glad I didn't miss it. Hey Joy, hey Josh. Guys, if you're not subscribed to Josh Binder, my little bro, you guys should all go subscribe because he's hilarious. He's way more entertaining than I am, so I don't know what you're doing over here. He's great. Okay, so Allison says, I shoot Nikon and I have a 50mm, the 28-75, the 70-200 that I rarely use. I rarely use my 70-200 either. Would you recommend the 35 or the 85 as my next lens? I would say the 85 because you already have the 28-75. And if you like that as your wide, then I wouldn't go any wider. Just personally, I love the 85. Like, if I could just use one lens for the rest of my life and somehow get by because it's... because how would I shoot everything? Because it's like a telephoto, but it's gorgeous. I love it. I have the 35. I have a 35 Sigma Art, but it has some calibration issues, so I have to get that taken care of. So I haven't really invested in any more, like, I haven't really fallen in love with the lens, is what I'm trying to say. Never mind, I guess you would recommend the 85 over the 35, always. Yeah, that's just my style. So you have to figure out what your style is and which would lend itself better. So I know like Nadia Mealy, the photographer I talked about previously, I'm pretty sure her baby is the 35mm. So not everybody's going to give you the same answer. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Everyone's talking to Josh now. Awesome, guys. Okay, so I'm going to take one more question that I had earlier. And someone says, how did you get consistent photographs? So how do you get your photos to be consistent? I got this question from Dejir on my last live stream. And I have a couple of tips for being more consistent, having more consistent photographs. And I think it comes in both your shooting and your editing. So in your shooting, I think that you can increase your consistency through your posing, through your lighting, through your direction, and through your use of lenses. So I'm not going to lay on the ground and use a super wide angle and shoot up just because that's a cool vantage point if the rest of my portfolio is very photojournalistic and more fly on the wall, more that you don't sense the photographer was even there. So I think it's more of a consistency in the way that you're shooting. So it can be really hard when you're first starting out and you're trying to figure out your style, and that I think is normal to see a lot of variance between your photographs. And then the second thing is just your editing. So I only use one preset when I'm editing. So if you look at my editing video, which is on my channel, I have a Lightroom before and after of like a super underexposed, challenging image. And if you look at that, you can see that I do generally the same thing to every image when I post-process it. This really helps everything to look cohesive on my website. So I think if you look at my blog, if you go to joymichellephotography.com/blog, you'll kind of see that, you'll start to see patterns in my work where it looks the same, and flowers look the same, and people's skin tones look the same, and skies look the same, and that kind of thing. And that's really just comes with practice and consistent editing, I feel. So I hope that answers Dajir's question. Awesome. Okay, so Julie Chow said, is there anything that you have on your bucket list that you would want to do, whether it's photography related or not? Yeah, I have a lot of stuff. I have a lot of countries that I would like to visit, and photography, I would love to shoot like a double wedding. I think that would be so cool. A double wedding, a triple wedding, any wedding where there's like multiple couples getting married at the same time. It sounds like, how do you even shoot that ceremony? I would need help, but it sounds awesome. Like, that just sounds amazing. So that's something I would really love to do. I would also love to travel. I want to see Paris, which I'm actually going this year. I'm finally checking that off my bucket list. So I'm going to be staying in Paris. I'm going to be seeing London. Still on my bucket list, I would like to visit Greece and Italy. So those are next. Let's see. What do you carry on you during the wedding day except cameras? Do you have some type of bag? Yeah. So in my previous video, so how I prepare for a you know what? I already filmed this video. I just haven't posted it. Sorry. Love Yourself asks, what do you carry on yourself? So I use the shoot sack. And the shoot sack is this really like thin bag that just fits to your body. And that's where I carry extra batteries, extra memory cards, typically like my phone. What else do I have? Like a flash, some like tissues, like backup things like chapstick, and just things like that I think I might need, or my client might need, like the tissues just for blotting and stuff like that. So I do carry extra batteries, extra flash, probably an extra lens or two. I carry a lot of things. So I use the shoot sack. It has 6 vertical pockets and they kind of wrap around you. So if you look that up, they're amazing. The website is going to do a better description than I did, but that's what I use. So I have a double holster with my cameras and then the shoot sack for lots of little miscellaneous things. Okay. Cherith says, I have the Nikon D700, love it, but I'm looking to purchase an additional body. Should I go Nikon D610 or D750? I would go, does that have dual card slots? And if so, do you have just CF cards or SD cards? I would go with whatever has the same memory cards so that you're using all the same system, and just whichever camera produces the same quality images, not just quality, but like the color. So the reason that I ended up going with 2 of the Nikon D610s or the D600 family was that I could take a picture with one, take a picture with the other, and the white balances would be very similar. So a friend of mine has the Nikon D4 and the D750 or the D8. I don't know, it doesn't matter. They're 2 different cameras and they produce very different white balances. So when she's editing, it's so much extra work to edit all these images to look the same white balance wise. So try to make sure that they're producing the same color profile in the image so that your post-production is not as complicated. That would be my advice, because I think both of them are fantastic cameras. Like, you really can't go wrong. So those are really, really great cameras. You're gonna love them. Okay. Allison Lee says, which preset do you use? I created it myself. Jocelyn says, I have one more question. All right, let me find it. How do you feel about giveaways or discounted weddings to get weddings? I guess you could do a giveaway. I don't like discounts. I think discounting your work is just starting off on the wrong foot and saying, I don't believe I'm actually worth my pricing. And so I would rather say, I want to gift this to you. I want to expand my portfolio. if you do that, be careful. You can still get some difficult situations out of that. So I would always use a contract, make sure that you're really being clear about expectations, because that can be a little difficult. But I don't have a problem with giveaways. I just don't think discounts help you in the long run. I would rather just do something for free to grow my portfolio rather than discounting it and doing it really cheap and just undercutting the industry, because I think it drags the industry down. Okay, so like she said, like a free engagement shoot with the booking of my highest wedding or that sort of thing. I mean, I don't think that's like a discount or a giveaway. I think that's just like an upsell kind of, or not an upsell, but just like you're sweetening the deal and they're already spending real money. At that point, I would probably just put it in the collection and say this is complimentary. The problem is when you say something's free, then your client will try to switch it out. They'll say, well, we don't need the engagement session, but can we have an extra 5 hours? Or, they'll play that game with you. So the problem is when you try to be generous, sometimes it can be, people try to take you for a ride. So you have to be careful. It's hard. Okay, Allison says, just got the shoot sack, so excited to use it. Yeah. Okay, so she has the 750 with 2 SD card slots. Yeah, so either one of those camera bodies, I think, will work out for you, because I know the D600s have dual SD card slots as well. Okay, Joy, during a photo session, not a wedding, we have the time to create a good connection with our customer. Do you work to have this kind of connection with people before the wedding? Absolutely, yeah. So, I mean, when I'm doing my engagement photos, I'm asking lots of intentional questions. I want to know how they met. I want to hear about their honeymoon. I want to hear about the wedding plans and what's going on. I want to know if they were surprised when their fiance got down on one knee. I'm definitely asking lots of questions and things that I just want to try to get a feel for who they are. And they're doing the same with me. So yeah, I definitely try to get to know them, and it helps me so much on the wedding day, because I can come back and I'll say, did it work out with your florist? Did you get the flowers you wanted? Have so much fun in Aruba, and you can bring back all these personal things, and they're like, oh yeah, these things about me. So I think it helps them to create a connection and create that trust, because you are there for so many intimate moments that it helps them to be like, oh, okay, it's Joy. Sorry guys, my hair, I don't even know. If someone just feels like they know you and they trust you, I think that really helps get better photographs for sure. My second shooter is not always the same person. I have a couple of different second shooters on rotation. It is hard to find someone that matches your style. It just is going to take a while. I would say ask around, look around, even reach out to photographers whose work you admire and see if they second shoot. And if they don't, maybe they know someone, because photographers always know more photographers. So you just got to go down that rabbit hole a little bit until it works out. And then someone said, oh, just thanks so much. Awesome. Thank you. And what's your makeup routine? My makeup routine is just take as little time as possible. No, I'm just kidding. It's a little more complicated than that, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, did you ever encounter a language barrier with your clients when you get to know your clients? Not typically. I'm trying to think. I feel like, no, not typically. Sometimes my clients speak English as a second language, and that's usually as limited as it is. But even then, I feel like I'm good at communicating to people whose English is their second language, because my husband is Colombian, he speaks Spanish, and his whole family doesn't speak English. Well, some of them don't speak English. So I have a little experience with that. Okay, so Love Yourself asks, how long does a consultation usually last? I heard some photographers make it up to half an hour, but you seem to ask a lot of questions during, so it may take longer. That's a good question. I think it depends. So lately I've been meeting with my clients a lot on Skype or over the phone, and those maybe last 15 minutes or so. Usually it depends on if they have a lot of questions. So if they have lots of questions, it can take a little bit longer. If we're in person and they want to go through the sample albums and things like that, it can be a little longer. I think less than 30 minutes is usually my standard, just because I can go through my consultation worksheet pretty quickly. So if you grab that consultation worksheet on the 10 tips to better consultations video, you'll see that it's really simple. It's just the main highlights, but it kind of helps me to get a feel for the wedding day. And I can tell just by like how many people are going to be there, their colors, their venue, the time of day, time of year, stuff like that. I can feel like I can get a better perspective of like if we're going to be a good fit. Okay. Julie Chow says, did you attend photography school? Thoughts about it? No, not formally. So I went to an art school and sorry, I got distracted, guys. I'll answer that question in 1 second. So I went to an art school and I took a lot of photography classes, and I did darkroom photography and lots of film and stuff like that. But I don't have my degree in photography, and I think it just depends what kind of photography you want to do. So I think the wedding industry is kind of this totally different group, and for that reason, like, you're not going to be able to go to school and learn your niche market in wedding photography. So for me, it wasn't the most applicable, just because I had already taken the digital class, the posing class, the film class. So I kind of had, like 6 credits short of a minor in photography. So I didn't specialize in photography. I specialized in graphic design. But at that point, if I was going to go back to school for it, at that point, I probably would have done studio work and stuff like that, which isn't applicable to what I do now. So I think it depends what kind of photography you want to do, and if then you can decide if going to school for photography is right for you. Okay, so how many sample albums do you take with you for a consultation? I think I have 2, a leather and a linen, and then I have print boxes. So just they're square boxes that have loose prints inside. Okay. Okay. What's your degree in? I have a fine art degree, so I had a concentration in graphic design, and I am a fine art, studio art, so just studio art, so lots of fine art, yeah, from the University of Maryland. Awesome, guys. All right, let me take one more question, and I'm trying to see how many of these I've gotten. Okay, we asked that. We've talked about that. We talked about timeline. We talked about affordable lenses. We talked about keeping busy during slow seasons. And how to get consistent photographs. Okay. What I want from you guys is I want to hear your questions on styled shoots. So I know the next time that we talk, it's been like, oh my gosh, we've been live streaming for over an hour. So the next time that we talk, we're going to be talking about styled shoots. And I want to know what you guys want to know all about styled shoots. So tell me if you want to hear about more the vendor side, more of getting the portfolio, getting published, all that kind of things. So explain to me what your questions are and I will go over them. So a friend of mine, Haley Grace, she has a channel here on YouTube as well. She is a planner and she does all kinds of amazing work, and she's going to be talking about how she got into weddings on the planning side of things, which is really cool. And I'm going to be sharing my experience as well. So I think that really is going to be so interesting. So again, that's going to be on Saturday, and we're going to be taking your questions in the meantime. So if you guys haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for showing up, for talking to me and giving me your questions and letting me be a part of your evening. And I hope that you guys are having a great night, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.